Hi everyone, I'm here with Mellow Walk. We're doing a facility tour. They are one of the last shoe manufacturers in Toronto and in Canada for that matter. They make excellent safety shoes. They're going to show me how they make some of my favorite styles.
Thank you. That was a good introduction.
I'm here with Andrew, president of Mellow Walk Footwear. Andrew took over the business from his father and happily took the time to walk me through their facility to explain the process from start to finish. There are 4 main stages when it comes to footwear manufacturing. We have cutting, sewing, lasting, and finishing. Let's get into it. The first step of shoe manufacturing is called cutting. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's the step where the leather, lining, and other materials are cut by size. Mellow Walk uses real leather to make most of their shoes because of how durable it is. They get their leather from ethically and sustainably sourced tanneries in Mexico. They recently also started using vegan leather on some of their styles. Mellow Walk uses a modern CNC leather cutter to cut their hides. It helps better utilize the leather and accurately cuts each piece of shoe to its corresponding size. The cutting technician inspects the leather for any imperfections, and she tells the machine exactly where to cut the different parts of the shoe in order to minimize waste.
She's telling the machine where the leather should be placed, and the machine does the rest.
The once solid leather hide comes out the other side of the cutter as puzzle pieces ready to be put together. Mellow Walk has been around since 1993, and they're one of the last fully integrated shoe manufacturers in Canada. While every effort is made to use the full leather hide, Mellow Walk does something unique with any scraps that are left over following the cutting process.
We try to maximize the height of leather. We take those scraps and we do things such as cut out a little leather maple leaf.
A maple leaf, an undeniably Canadian symbol, is included in every shoe order as a symbol of Mellow Walk's proud Canadian roots and to let the customer know that their shoes are made of real, durable leather. To the sewing department.
The correct shoe terminology would be fitting.
To the fitting department. Puzzle pieces from the cutting department are taken to the fitting department, and this is where they are fit and sewn together to make what's called the upper. The upper is exactly what it sounds like, the upper part of a shoe.
What they actually are doing is not just sewing the pieces together, they're actually fitting them together because they have to sew over these posts that you see, which makes it that much more complicated. It's a different skill set from working with apparel. In here, you're almost sewing in a 3D motion.
As Andrew mentioned, sewing pieces of a shoe together is much more complicated than sewing your average garment. These ladies are fitting them together and sewing each piece into a 3D form. They use special sewing machines called post-bed sewing machines, and as the name suggests, this is where you stitch on top of a post as opposed to on a flat surface. Before the upper is finalized, the eyelets are punched into place for you to be able to lace these bad boys up. You may have noticed that there have been many women working in this facility.
You know, when I started, this line would have been all men.
Really?
Yeah, we kind of said there's no reason that women can't also work with one of these machines. A lot of our machines, we have women operators. We have a lot of women working here.
Yes.
And we're really proud of that fact. All of our supervisors are women at each of our departments. Our plant manager is a woman. Our sales director is a woman. So, you know, they bring us a different dynamic.
I got my first real adult job when I needed safety shoes back in 2016. My excitement to shop for my very own pair of safety shoes quickly dissipated when I realized the retailer only carried 2 different styles for women and only one of them was in my size. I still walked out happy because I really liked the boots I got, the Mellow Walk Maddie style in black. But this was the first time I realized that not all is equal for women in these industries. Mellow Walk actually started out making women's shoes back in 1993, so they have always stuck true to their roots by now making really good quality safety shoes for both men and women. On to step number 3, the lasting, which is confusingly not actually the last step in the process. The word lasting comes from an Old English word last, which means footprint. Here is where a shoe begins to resemble the 3D form shape of a finished shoe.
What we're looking at right now is our last. I don't think people realize that there is a solid mold that a shoe gets built around.
The shoe lasting has been referred to as the heart of the shoe. It's at the center of the entire shoemaking process. We're building the shoe around the last. It's what determines the fit, performance, shape, and style of a shoe. Lasts are specific to each size as well as width of the shoe. So if a company offers sizing in a narrow, regular, and wide shoe, they're going to need different lasts for each. But because they're manufacturing more than one shoe at a time, they need multiple lasts of each size and each width to be able to have an efficient assembly line. Hence the bins full of hundreds of lasts that you see around me here.
The other interesting thing about our lasts is this cutout. You can see that there's a cutout on the last. Now that's where the steel toe cap goes on. And the reason that we do that is because it helps create a more seamless profile to the shoe, creating a better looking shoe.
Totally. I'm wondering if we can compare a woman's last to a men's.
Well, let's do that. What we have here on the yellow is our women's 10. The equivalent would be a men's 8. Okay. You can see that the girth here is a lot wider.
Yes.
Than this one.
Yeah.
The toe is also broader, looking at the bottom profile as well.
The arch is different as well.
The arch would be different as well, yeah. It's designed this way because a woman's foot is different than a men's foot.
Hang on. I need to rewind and replay that last part.
It's designed this way because a woman's foot is different than a men's foot.
Typically, women working in construction trades and STEM industries have had to wear safety gear made for the male body in mind, foregoing comfort, proper fit, and most importantly, safety. It was thought that women's feet were just smaller versions of men's, and we know now that is not true. There are many differences between male and female feet. As we saw in the shoe lasts, men's feet are typically longer and broader and have a lower arch. This is why Mellow Walk's boots were the only ones that fit me when I went boot shopping all those years ago. They don't just shrink down their men's shoes, they make shoes with the women's foot anatomy in mind. So one more time for the people in the back.
It's designed this way because a woman's foot is different than a men's foot.
Once the uppers are on the lasts, the toe caps and puncture-proof soles are cemented on. And finally, the shoes are attached. These soles are attached so strongly in the pressure vacuum that you won't be able to pull them apart by hand. Trust me, I tried. The upper that was sewn together in the fitting department is placed tightly around the lasting.
Oh, that was so cool.
Mellow Walk makes a mix of composite and steel toe boots depending on the model. I've always preferred composite toe, especially for the winter. Composite toe boots are about 30% lighter than steel toe boots, so they're much more comfortable to wear for longer periods of time. It depends on what type of work you do though. Keep in mind that composite toe boots do not withstand the same level of impact as a steel toe boot. Composite toe boots are also nicer for the winter because steel toe is terrible at insulating, so they're gonna keep you warmer for longer.
We're here in our finishing department, and as you can imagine, finishing is the the last step in our process. There's a number of steps that have to take place before we can put the pair of shoes in the shoebox and get it out to the customer.
After the soles are cemented, they're also stitched one last time in the finishing department as an added security to make sure that the upper stays attached to the sole. From here, the last steps are to add the removable sock liners, check for defects, polish the shoes, put the laces on, and put the shoes in the Mellow Walk shoebox, and these shoes are ready to be shipped to your local workwear store. I didn't realize how labor intensive it is to make a pair of shoes. In this manufacturing facility, each shoe is in the hands of about 40 workers before it makes our way to our feet. Watching this process gave me a huge appreciation for the footwear that keep me safe on my job sites. It's something we really take for granted, but good shoes are the reason we're able to show up and do our job safely every single day. I'm grateful that Mellow Walk welcomed us into their facility today and showed us all the care and effort that goes into making their shoes. What did you find most fascinating?